Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to learn how do computers save information, and we will learn some stuff about hard disk drives or other kind of drives, right? So starting with that, so first let's think that how do human beings save information, right? So the two ways, either we write it down, right, or we write it down like, right, or whatever, right? Or we try to memorize in our head. The problem with memorization is that we forget because that's volatile, right? And we write it with the pen, we save it. So, how do computers save information, right? So, this is what we're looking at. So, the computers, so here's the first kind of computer, okay? Where is it? Okay. So you see over here, this was the first generation of machines who saved information. So if you look at this is called like punch machines, right? So if you look at it, so these are the keys, right? It says maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or ABC or whatever. And then when you punch that with your fingers, it punches hole in a paper and it's give you all these different kind of patterns. So this could mean 1, this could mean 3, right? This dot alone mean over here 0 or whatever, right? So this is how the machine wrote information on a piece of paper. So compare that with really the information that, the way we saved information, right? The way the human beings did. I mean, we wrote it down like that. And this was a machine writing. See, the machine wrote just like we humans do, right? Some information by punching hole into the piece of paper. And all this could mean something, right? This dot on its own, these 3 dots or whatever, right? So this was the first generation. Okay, now, and similarly, when you want to read, you feed these cards into the machine, right? And I'll tell you in a second that how it worked. So here comes the, if you wanted to write a book, you want to save a book, and here it is. You can see all these hundreds and thousands of punch cards right here, right? And every card has some holes in it telling a story or a paragraph, and this was your first generation of like hard disk. I mean, just think about it, right? Now so this was more mechanical, right? The now the second or the same, the first generation, the other was like a machine over here. Let me see. So this was like the first sort of, you can call that first hard disk, right? First hard disk. And you see this paper tape, with lots of holes on it, right? So a plain tape will be entered into the machine, and then if you want to save something, then this machine will punch holes into this tape, right, like this, telling, saving A, B, C. Do you know how the machine, how for example A is saved, right? A in binary language is what? 0 1 0 0 0 0 0 1, I guess. Yeah. So this one, okay, so usually they used to have like a little lamp inside here. So when this tape will go on top of the lamp, so wherever there's a hole, the light will come out, and if there's no hole, the light will not come out. So this is how you will read that. If this is, for example, there is a light, L for light, and then no light, and no light, no light, light, no light. So this could mean, light 0 0 1 0 1. So this is how you will see that if it's 0 or 1 or A or B or C or D, right? So this was the first generation of the hole punch hole was the first generation of, so to say, like hard disks, or you can call that saving information. Okay. Now you can also see these tapes with all these holes in them. So this little pink tape over here that you can see, I mean, that might be really a paragraph, or some small story, and something like that. Then come the second generation of hard disk drives, and that was the so this is we're looking at one hard disk drive, right? The reason it is called hard disk is because it has these metal hard platters or round discs, right? And they spin. There's a motor underneath here, right? And then you have these things what they call a head. So these discs were magnetically sensitive. So this head will generate magnetic spots on it in the form of, like, if let's say if you want to write A. So A is 0 1 0 0 0 0 0 1. Okay. So this head will write, for 0 will be no magnet, and for 1 there will be a magnet dot, right? And then there's no dots, and then all the way there's one dot over here, or whatever code that you come up with, right? For example, two consecutive magnet dot means 1, and just one dot on its own means 0, right? 1. So this way you will save 0 1 0 0 0 0 0 1 information like that. So this is how the information was saved. Same thing that, when you want to read information, this disk is spinning, right? And wherever there are magnetic spots, they will create some magnetic field in that head over here, and you will know that if it's 0 or 1. So this was the second it's called hard disk drive, right? HDD, right? Hard disk drive. That's what it's called. And the reason it's called drive is because it moves, just like you go on a drive in the car. So literally, because of it's moving, that's why it's called drive. And then later on, it became a custom. Now, as we know that the necessity is the mother of all inventions, there were some problems with this kind of disk. Okay, you can imagine what were the problems. The problems were there's lots of moving parts. It really wears out. It breaks. And on top of that, what happens if you bring a big magnet close to it, right? Because you have all these tiny magnet darts over here. If you bring a big magnet, it's going to destroy all the data, because it's going to really put magnet all over the place. So, and it gets really heated up. It is slow. There was a problem. So then the human beings, so us, invented this second kind, which we call now the third generation, right? So punch holes was the first generation. This is like the second generation, and these are the third gen. So this is called solid state drive. And the reason it's called solid state is because there's no moving parts in it, right? And also the solid state word is used when you use silicon based uh, chips, right? Chip or IC, integrated circuits, what we call. So in these, just like the CPU, all these ICs that you have, they have gazillions of switches inside them. Okay, tiny switches, what we call transistors also. So inside them are transistors or switches, or we will learn later we call NAND, NAN, the NAND gate, or A and the AND gates and stuff like that. But just think, for simplicity, just think they are switches. So now what happens that if you want to save A, again A is 0 1 0 0 0 0 0 1. So you have, like for example this one, you have these switches 3 4 5 6 7 8. So for 0 the switch is off. Let me get another color. So for 0 the switch is off. I better get in the other yellow color here. So the switch is off, and for 1 the switch is on, and then off, 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 and then on, right? So that makes A. So by just turning these switches on and off, you will know that if it's the information that you're saving is A or B or C. And also when you want to read information, so you see that that this combination of switches generates this binary strings, and this binary string means A. So this is how the information is saved in SSD, solid state drives, right? So the advantage of solid state drive is that they're light, there's no moving part, they're fast. But the disadvantage is that they're expensive. All right. So now to give you another example is the USB or the thumb drives that we use, right? So these drives are also, guess what? So this is a thumb drive, right? What we call a USB drive also. And over here, they just showed that, they removed the cover. So inside it, you see this is the same chip that was over there in the solid state SSD. So the only difference is that SSD comes in bigger capacity, and these USB drives are usually 128 GB or 32 GB, stuff like that, right? So inside over here again you have literally billions of switches, what you call a transistor or AND gates and whatnot, right? So these tiny switches, and then you save information as I described earlier. So the thumb drive or the USB drive is a sort of SSD also, right? But only smaller in size. So this is enough for this video. Inshallah, I will make another video that we will talk more about how the data is organized on the hard disk drives, the file systems and those sort of things. Okay. Till then, inshallah, Allah Hafiz.